Hey guys, this is Brett Darian here, and today we're going to be looking at Speed Devils Online Racing. Now, let me start by saying that I love the original Speed Devils racing game for the Dreamcast. I think it's very underrated and it's overlooked, and I think it's a very fun game. And they came out with a sequel of sorts. They basically just added online functionality to the game. Now, unfortunately, though, I do not like this game as much as the first game. And the biggest reason being that the single player is really stripped down. In the original game, you race and you can, you buy cars, you compete against other racers, you can bet cars and all that stuff. There's none of that here in this game. The single player is really basic, and they really just focused on the online functionality for this version, which of course, unfortunately, you can't play anymore. But anyway, let's get into it here. This is the start menu. It's got some cool background effects there. And of course, you got two options. You can race online or race offline. And unfortunately, we can only race offline. And there are some options here you can choose. You can change transmission or speed unit if you want to. And so yeah, we're gonna do an offline race because again, that's all we can do. And as I've said before, the single player is really stripped down in this version. All you do is you pick a track, and all the tracks are available from the original game with the exception of New York, strangely. And there is one new track called Montreal. We'll race that a little later. For right now, though, I'm going to pick Canada. Yeah, I think I'd choose Canada. Yes, we choose Canada. And you can also do some track options, weather, time of day, reverse. So at least you have a lot of options, customizable options for your race. And you can also choose arcade. There's also a ghost mode. And you can also choose number of laps and number of players. And you also have different car options here. Some of the cars from the original game are here, but there are quite a few new cars, like a truck even. And there's even some big cars, some big SUVs, and even some race cars. And you can choose any car here, and you can choose a different skin, different color, and also different tires, which was also a feature from the original game. I think I go through all of them here pretty much. So there's actually quite a few cars in this game. There may even be more cars in this game than the original game. But there's also quite a different variety of cars. So that is one good thing. So there are quite a few cars. I didn't count them, but I'm betting there's at least like 10 or 15 cars in total. So I'm going to race this car right here. And there's a few different colors, like I said, for each car. And after you pick your car and all your options, then you start the race. And loading times are kind of long, like the original game. They can take up to a minute or so. But the tracks, the game looks very similar to the original game. The graphics may look slightly better, maybe a little sharper. The frame rate in the original game was good, so this one's just the same. It's very smooth. So here we have this little camera shot of your car. You cannot skip this. You could skip this in the original game, but you can't skip this here. The only thing you can do is exit the race. Now, one other problem I have with this game is the music. The music was changed for every track. And I do not think the music in this game really fits the game at all. Like, I think the music in the original game was a lot better. That might just be nostalgia talking there, but I do think the music in this game is not as good. Some of the tracks are okay. The music tracks are okay, I guess. Maybe you get used to them. But still, I just think that the music in the original game was a lot better and a lot more fitting. The HUD also looks a bit different. The HUD graphics anyway are different. The placement of the HUD is pretty much the same, but they do look a little different. You know, maybe a little better. You know, that's up to preference there. That's debatable. But it's still basically the same layout. It just looks a little different, maybe a little more updated. The tracks themselves look pretty much the same too from the original tracks. There's no differences that I can see. They just look. They may look a little sharper, a little better, but overall they look pretty much identical. And one other issue I have with this version of the game is the steering. The cars all seem to handle worse than the original game. When I play this game, I have a much harder time controlling the vehicles and steering. And the reason you see the HUD disappearing there is because I was trying to use the D-pad to steer, which you cannot do. The D-pad just toggles your HUD. And in the original game, you could press the left D-pad and that will look back, and I don't think that happens in this game either. But yes, the cars seem to handle differently, worse in my opinion. Though again, it probably is something that you would get used to. But after playing the game for the first time for a few minutes, I found the cars very hard to handle. But the tracks, though, I mean, one of the reasons why I love the original Speed Devils is because I think the tracks are really neat. They're really cool. Different weather effects. There's a lot of stuff going on. Like in one track in Louisiana, you have a tornado that you have to drive through and avoid. So I mean, so the tracks are really cool, and that's why I like Speed Devils. And for the most part, that's present in this game. But like I said, there's just different things they changed that I just don't like. So I did one lap of that track, and now we are going to check out the new track called Montreal. And after you do a race, you can put in your name if you get the fastest lap. You can save that to your VMU and brag about it. You can also view different stats for all the different tracks. Alright, so now I'm going to switch to the new track, which is Montreal. There's 3 different seasons for this track as well. We're going to do summer, though, because technically it is still summer. Still 1 month of summer left here. So we're going to start this up, and this is the only new track in this game. And for the most part, this track is alright. Still, I don't like it as much as the other tracks, but, I mean, it's okay. It's different. Again, load times are kind of long. Definitely longer than you would like them to be. But this is a Dreamcast game. It's 18 years old. By the way, next year, September of next year, the Dreamcast will be out for 20 years. It'll be 20 years old. Technically, the Dreamcast is 20 years old this year because it came out in Japan in 1998. So happy 20th birthday to the Dreamcast. Now this track here, like I said, it's the only new track. See, I'm having trouble steering already. And I got hit really bad there by an AI player and got backed over to the other side of the track. But this track has some cool ideas. It definitely looks different than some other tracks. It's more of a... I think you're driving through this industrial plant. I think right now you're driving through a... it looks like a parking garage. With all these support beams in the way, they can be good obstacles. I really like these bridge jumps though. They give you some good air. I'm just a little confused where to go there. So unfortunately, the online functionality, of course, of this game does not exist anymore, but there is hope. There is this device you can buy called the Dream Pi, and it basically allows your Dreamcast to hook up to the internet using your high-speed connection, even Wi-Fi, and that's Dream Pi. That's DREAMPI, Dream Pi. And they do have the online functions of some games working, and you can play online multiplayer. And I do think they are trying to get the online functionality of this game working, and I would love to try that, despite me not liking this game as much as the first. I would love to try it out, and I would do a video on that if I could. So just for funsies here, I am going to try the online function, and we'll see what it tries to do, which isn't very exciting, but we'll take a look at it. So when you try to race online, basically it gives you a bunch of options, so you can set up your connection, and then you can try to connect, which of course I can't do, but it gives you a bunch of options here, including your ISP, username, password, and all that stuff. But anyway, guys, that was Speed Devils Online Racing. So, like I said, unfortunately, I do not like the game as much as the first, basically because the single player is really stripped down. But if the online function was still working, though, I'm sure I would really enjoy it still, because the online, you could supposedly, still bet cars and win cars and all that stuff, just like the original game, only it's online. So that probably been really fun, but unfortunately, you can't do anymore. But like I said, hopefully they get it working on Dream Pi, and I would love to try it out. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.